Hello, and welcome to the North Coast Journal Preview. This is a show where we take a look at what's coming in the current edition of the North Coast Journal. I am your host, Tanya Shrum, and we are joined by North Coast Journal's managing editor, Jennifer Fumiko Cahill. Welcome.
Hey, Tanya.
It's you and me today.
Yes, it is.
And another lovely week here on the North Coast.
A big week, which we may have time to talk about later. But yes, it is Fair Week. The fair is happening, and we have all kinds of shenanigans in the paper to get to.
All right, well, we're going to dive right in. Jennifer, would you please discuss the story that Kim Weir brought to the cover?
Yes, Kim once again is, dare I say, diving into abalone. I'm making it sound more fun than it is. Good news if you're an abalone. We've got another moratorium on abalone harvesting. Bad news if you are a person who likes to dive for abalone. And honestly, a sign of bad news. The story is titled No Signs of Recovery. Sorry. Kim has in the past, and I recommend everybody taking a look at our previous coverage. She has covered the abalone crisis and what was called the perfect storm that really led to abalone populations being decimated. When I look through, I always have to look back and make sure I'm reading this right because it feels crazy to me. In a handful of years from, I believe, was it 2015? In a handful of years, the red abalone population plummeted by an estimated 85% along Sonoma, Humboldt, Mendocino coastline. The population just vanished, 85%. It's wild. And that caused a halt to the kind of diving activity and the harvesting and the eating that everybody so enjoyed. I know that was a big tradition on the North Coast, Trinidad and elsewhere. So the California Fish and Game Commission had another meeting where they said, in 2017 was the first time they were like, okay, we're closing the fishery entirely. We're banning abalone harvest. And now, 8 years later, there isn't much improvement. And the bull kelp that they had hoped to revive and the other measures that they took to hopefully, abate the disappearance of the abalone and the very, very naughty purple sea urchins that are eating all the bull kelp, those things are still not recovering the way that we want to see them. And so it looks like we are pushing back the fisheries opening for a third time. And that is going to be, the regulatory process to extend the moratorium sunset date is until April 2036. We're looking at 10 years and change of no abalone. It was a really shocking declaration. We were also hopeful that there would be some recovery, but we're just not seeing it.
And they're continuing to study the main predator that's allowing the purple urchins to go wild is also decimated.
Right. This is one of those things where everything is connected in an ecosystem. And I have been trying to understand this in terms of the old woman who swallowed the fly. The sea star wasting disease that has hit our populations of sea stars, they were the predators that kept the urchin population under control, particularly our friend, the sunflower sea star, which has how many arms? 24.
24. Amazing.
Look at me just knitting sweaters for sea stars, and 24 arms at maturity. And again, I'm going to look at this on the page as I say it to you because I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Apparently, they can grow as large as a car tire.
Amazing.
I cannot tell you how quickly you will find me swimming away from a 24-armed car tire-sized creature. We'll get to that. But because those creatures that could sort of wiggle over to a sea urchin and literally just devour its whole spiky self, with them affected by the wasting disease, that population decimated, the urchins are going on with their spiky selves unabated. They are just running free, running wild, eating all the bull kelp. And that is causing part of the problem for our kelp-loving red abalone. Recently, the bacteria, this is only this month, a coalition of researchers announced that they found the bacteria that is causing the sea star wasting disease. It is, help me with this, Tanya, science lady.
Oh shoot! I should have had that queued up for you.
I have Vibrio
Vibrio.
pectinicida. How do we say that?
I think you're in the ballpark.
Okay, Vibrio pectinicida. Go ahead. Drag me, scientists. Send in your messages about how I butchered that. I'm sure Mike Kelly will be the first one.
I finally found it. You're right on target right there.
So that is the nasty, nasty bacteria that is causing this. Oh, pectinicida. Okay.
But sida, tomato.
So in case you were about to name your kid Vibrio pectinicida, don't do it now. It's the sea star wasting disease bacteria. So I am looking forward to hopefully something that will come out of this discovery, right? Now that they've got the bacteria figured out, maybe they can, in like every disease movie I've ever watched on cable TV, maybe they can find out some cure within the next 72 hours. Probably not. But it is a little bit of hope.
And they did say it will help with trying to, farm, create, genetic lines that maybe are more resistant, and then they can reintroduce them.
Right? There are all kinds of, I guess, scientific possibilities that could stem from this. Fingers crossed. I want those red abalone to come back. I want our sea stars to come back. And there is something you can do to help. So, to help gather data, environmental groups are requesting that the public, those of you who are, ankle deep in a tide pool now and then, do you actually go in the tide pool? How do you tide pool?
I do, but I usually have a dog with me, so I try to be respectful in that way, that we just do our thing.
Well, they are asking people who do the tide pooling to be on the lookout for the sunflower sea star. You can't miss her. She's got 24 arms.
And she's big.
She's big. She's a big girl.
She's thick.
Right? She's big and beautiful. So, and she is on the cover of this week's journal. You see that big, beautiful orange creature that looks like a flower, a sunflower, if you will. That is a photo by the journal's own Mike Kelly. The photos that we have of the sea stars, the sunflower stars, and the gross picture of the one that's affected by wasting disease, those are all courtesy of Mike Kelly, a Olympic level tide pooler himself, as you know, and keep an eye out for his washed up column every couple of weeks in the journal. But he graciously shared those with us, and I know he'll be on the lookout. But if you see one of these babies, you are not to disturb it. Don't poke it. Don't try to take it home. Definitely don't eat it. Don't let your dog snuggle it. but instead go to iNaturalist and take a picture and upload it to the iNaturalist website, and then it'll help us to figure out where they are, how many they are. They're rare enough that we want to be tracking them and taking care of those populations. And you can find more information at the website with the best name, seasquatch.org, SEASQUATCH.org.
That's seasquatch.org, just because we both wanted to say it.
Don't think I'm not building a sea squash costume for Halloween
we
in my
speak.
head right now. It's a little Captain Crunch. It's a little Harry and the Hendersons. You know what I'm talking about.
It's all you. I'm Sally O'Malley this year for obvious reasons.
Fantastic. But yeah, so Kim will be covering this. If I can offer one last thing, it's to check back, because this is a story near and dear to Kim's heart, and it's one that is really important for the entire ecosystem on the North Coast, not just for selfish people like me who really want to eat some abalone. It's an indicator of a whole climate change disaster that's happening around us, and we're hoping for some good news, and if and when it comes, Kim will have it.
And we really appreciate Kim's work and ongoing investigations into this crisis.
That we do.
All right. And thank you for that, Jennifer. With that, we're going to pivot over to something that is sweet and delicious.
My scientific contributions to society.
Hey, good. Inquiring minds need to know, what is the best apple pie?
Listen, I think that there are at least 8 people, the judges from the Humboldt County Fair's apple pie contest. It's the first this year. I think we all left those 2 tables knowing exactly what we want from an apple pie, knowing what we don't want from an apple pie, and some of us never wanting an apple pie again. So my table column this week, the On the Table column, is called 29 Pies, because that's how many pies we tried. Girl, I know it's a great problem to have, too much pie. Too much pie. But I sat down, I had, honestly, the best table you could possibly have. I sat next to Amber Saba, who you may recognize as the Victory Rolled Lovely, who runs the Humboldt Pie, or Slice of Humboldt Pie, with her partner Peanut. Hey, Peanut. Sorry to miss you for that one. Peanut was out of town. I would have loved to have had a pie fest with everybody on board, but Amber was really great, and it's always good to have a professional's opinion. So there was Amber, there was Emily Walker, who randomly did one of those Facebook sharing contests, and she was like, I didn't think I was going to win, but here I am now. She's like, I'm just a rando here eating pie. But I got to tell you, that woman, she was like a soldier. She went from pie to pie to pie. She did not slow down. She was focused. She was in it to win it. Also at my table, somebody was originally supposed to come in, but was too busy at their setup, the barbecue station and in Cook's Barbecue. And instead, honestly, I can't say I'm sorry. 81-year-old Pat Lindley substituted. The mom came in for her daughter, substituted, and was an absolute treasure and ruthless. My God.
She had opinions.
She had opinions. And I should explain that the way the judging worked is there were 2 tables, and every time a new pie would come out, Annie Knight would come, and she ran the whole thing like clockwork. She came out and she would show us the pie, and we would make our notes about the appearance of the pie.
The presentation.
Yes, the presentation. And then she would bring it to the next table, and then a slice would be passed around, and we'd all take a little bit from the slice to have one or more bites of the pie, at least one bite of every pie. And it does take a little bit more than a single bite to really get like, oh, did I get bottom crust in there? Did I get the edge? Did I, right? So you end up eating kind of a lot of pie. There was a sort of a trash can in the middle of the table so that we could dump paper plates and things that were, after 5 or 6 pies, you need a new plate. And also bits of pie that maybe you aren't going to finish. And I got to tell you that I did, in fact, imagine the scene from Sideways. It's not like a winery spit bucket, but it was still intense. It was a lot of pie.
And they didn't make you eat a saltine in between each bite to cleanse your palate? Okay.
Listen, I went at this thing
that as so many carbs.
I went at this thing the same way Pat Lindley did. 29 pies and 1 cup of black coffee. It was hardcore. And we'd be tasting them. Meanwhile, there's a slowly building crowd of people watching because it was live tasting, which I didn't really think about when I signed up. But it means that people who made the pies may very well be watching you. So you got to keep a pretty serious poker face. And you got to keep it neutral. And conversation was very whispery about the pies. Because I don't want to be dragging somebody's pie. And I also don't want to make somebody super hopeful like, oh, I got this in the bag, right? Because everybody loved it. Because it's a lot of pie. It's 29 pies. 27 adult pies, 2 youth pies. And the youth pies were really good, by the way. Those kids were baking like crazy.
So you did learn a few things. I mean, between you and all of the judges about certain things that were a no-go. And I have to mention that you horrified me reminiscing that New England puts cheddar on top of their pie. And I had forgotten about that. So thanks for bringing that back.
It's a divisive move. I like it. But I'm a pie freak. But
it's not the worst, but it's also definitely not my choice.
I have a recipe in a cookbook that I really like that is a Dutch apple pie, and the crumb topping has grated white cheddar in it, mixed into it, and it's fantastic. But people who do not like the cheese taste with the pie, it is a cruel joke.
I think it reckons back to putting cheese on the oysters.
Ooh, yeah. You got me there.
It gets a little Addams Family for me.
Well, yeah, we realized we have a lot of really strong feelings. And I'm writing in this column about how we want different things, which is why, by the way, I very seldom do a best anything. Best of issue, that's for everybody to vote on. But when it comes to, say, like doing a top 10 milkshakes in the county, I don't even do that because I realize that we all want different things. My husband and I do not want the same burger, and yet we've made it work. We do not want the same thing from a French fry. It's just a matter of personal preference to a certain extent. There are some techniques that are good or bad in terms of how a pie turns out, but a lot of it is just personal taste. So I talk about all of those little things and each of our personal little obsessions of what we're looking for. Pro tip from Amber, she recommends letting the apple sit in the sugar and spice mix for a while. I believe possibly even overnight. It makes a big difference. Our winner, I know you're dying to know what kind of pie won. Our winner was Mr. Ed Regan, and his husband placed 5th. So if you know the Regan Schraders of Eureka, these are people you want to invite to your dinner party. They are a dynamic baking duo. Ed won with this fantastic butter crust, just all butter crust, which he does know is hard to work with. It falls apart a little bit as you're trying to shape, But as long as you keep things simple, you don't have to do a big elaborate thing with designs and whatnot. But it just had a lovely flakiness, which is hard to achieve without any shortening, but he did it. He had a wonderful taste to the crust. I have seen people leave pie crust and just eat the filling, and I don't know if it's the baker or if it's the person eating, but one of you will not see heaven. I really loved the filling in it. His apples were still apple shaped, apple identifying, right? We didn't come to eat applesauce, as our production manager, Holly, says. If she wants applesauce, she'll order applesauce. And it had that nice level spice, but it was also kind of caramelly in a way. It was not an official caramel apple pie. He does a thing where he mixes up sugar and spices in a saucepan and cooks it down into a syrup and then tosses that with the apples and bakes it. And it made a lovely difference. Winner pie.
Ugh, there's just nothing better than apple pie. I mean, I know I'm biased, but some people love cherry, but it's definitely apple for me.
I can't pick a favorite. I am a sucker for a good apple pie, and shout out to my mom, who somewhere in the, I want to say, mid-90s went on an apple pie quest. I think she ate every apple pie in New York City looking for the apple pie she wanted. And by the time she finally found it, she was done. She over apple pied. She will have a bite now, but she's like, no. She spent about 2 years ordering apple pie over and over again until she found the one she wanted, which, by the way, had a little custard in it. Surprise! And now she's done. She said goodbye to apple pie.
Aw, that's
It's a heartbreaking
rough.
tale.
That
I
is
know.
a heartbreaking tale. So what's her quest now?
You know, the quest changes. The quest changes. I would have to call her and find out.
What it is today.
Yeah, I won't open up that can of worms on you people.
Okay.
You don't deserve it. But
Okay.
for a while, it was apple pie, baby. And anyway, I just wanted to give it a shout out to say that the folks who organized the pie contest, hey, Annie Knight, and also everybody who baked a pie and brought it, that takes guts to have someone evaluate your food who's not, say, a guest in your home required to be polite. It takes guts to compete, and it's a lot of work making a homemade pie crust and apple pie. Bless you all, and I'm hoping I'll be recovered enough to try it again next year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, before we're done, do we have anything that we'd like to plug real quick?
I do. I want to throw a couple of events at you from the calendar. Again, all summer, it's just going to be packed. This is, for some people, this is the last hurrah of summer. The We Ought One Sky celebration is happening on Saturday at Table Bluff. Fantastic. It's going to have all kinds of native dancers and performers and arts and whatnot, including Aztec dancers, which we're always here for. It's always fantastic. And also, if you are looking to make some really great donations to the Food for People effort, Martinis by the Bay is happening on Thursday, August 21st. So get there, toast, and raise money for a really, really great cause.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, and of course, the fair is on. If that's your bag. I really appreciate you bringing everything to us this week, and I encourage everybody to pick up the journal and read it cover to cover. That is our time for this week. The current edition of the North Coast Journal will be available on newsstands tomorrow. Pick up your copy, or you, of course, can find it 24/7 at northcoastjournal.com. My name is Tanya Schrum. Thanks for being with us, staying informed and supportive of our community here on the North Coast.